Just because I'm wearing an Indian outfit, does that mean I'm an Indian? No. Next week I'm going to be a Muslim. The week after that I'm going to be Chinese. And everybody in the entire world receives and projects love differently. Everybody. And love is a huge topic. It means different things to everybody. You know, like, Brad, can you remember the first time you said I love you to a chick?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't remember the first time. I remember the first feeling, thinking, you know, I know what love is now.
Right. And love evolves over time. We think we have an understanding of what love is, and I'm not sure if we really do until we start considering it. Because you and I have had some conversations along these lines. Like, I love Steve. But I love Steve a little different than I love Brad. I love Matt different than I love Dean. I think the English language, it shows that we are limited by our words. To me, there should be a word that describes my love for my childhood friend from baby till now. Like, that's a different kind of love than I have with Brad. I have a whole different kind of love with Steve and with Jim and Don. Like, everybody's here. I have these different feelings. And I would describe each of them as a slice of love. But I love Jill. She's in a whole nother category in and of herself. All out there baking in the sun, all sexy. I struggle with this idea because receiving love is not often talked about.
Right. And giving love, not for everybody, but giving love seems to be easier than receiving love in a lot of ways. Because to receive love, you have to be open to it. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes when we hug people, you know, like for me, hugging someone is an act of love. It's saying like, hey, you know, I don't care who you are, where you're from, you know, what your story is. Like, I'm choosing to love you, and this is my first indication of that by giving you a hug. And when you feel that awkward energy from it, you know, that's like their ego mind or whatever saying like, whoa, I don't know
why is this dude hugging me
right now?
Right.
You know, and I think that, you know, ultimately love is an expression of vulnerability and openness.
I think it's tougher guys in the West, the United States, to receive love. I know it's difficult for a lot of guys to receive compliments. And so if it's difficult for a lot of guys to receive compliments, how much more difficult is it to receive and reciprocate in love?
Do you think it's harder to receive a compliment from a man or a woman?
I like them from everybody, so I don't understand not, but I see, but I see it in people all the time.
Yeah.
Like if somebody does a really good job, or they look really nice, you know, they took care of themselves that day, and just they look great, their energy's fantastic, and you say, "Damn, man, you look nice today. You know, you look good."
Yeah.
Then they kind of go like, first of all, they think, "Are you gay?" You know, like, and they kind of take this step back, and or you're just thinking, "Hey, man, I'm a fellow human traveler, and I just want to acknowledge and give you some love.
Yeah.
Hey, you look great. Your energy's great. Your vibe is good."
Yeah.
And it shuts a lot of people down because I think it's the old thing in the West where suck it up and go on. Like that kind of carries over into that mentality of, what do you want from me? You know, why are you telling me that? I've always been told not to share, you know, my feelings in that regard, especially with somebody that I'm just quasi acquainted with. It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah. That's the what you just said though. Like if a male gives you another compliment, or another male gives another male compliment, you know, their initial thought is he gay? Like, that's, for me, you know, always looking at the shadow aspects of everything, you know, that's when those kind of thoughts pop up, that's like, it's ultimately a projection, because maybe you're afraid of that person thinking you're gay by accepting the compliment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, but I think those thoughts running in the back of our head, that's the things that are preventing us from receiving love from anybody. I'm not good enough. Why is she complimenting me? I'm not good. She said she loves me, but she couldn't possibly love a wretch like me, right? And when we overcome those thoughts, we become wide open for love because we learn to love ourselves.
I think we also assume that love has to do with other people. You know, like I love, you know, a lot of y'all. I have really close relationships with a lot of y'all. A lot of y'all watching that aren't here, that we know each other personally, but we think about it as an outward thing.
Yeah.
It's the inward love that's so important, and the things that we don't consider to love, like the hardship in life.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm going through this tough time. This is difficult right now. Loving that difficulty. Most people don't consider those things, except they think you're dwelling on that, hating that. They give the opposite emotions of what love is instead of saying, hey, this is the story of my life. If I had written everything down from a baby until this point, this is just a few pages. And I don't know what these other pages are going to unfold, but I love this whole story, even kind of the bad stuff. Because when you look back, what was sad, you know, a divorce 30 years ago or whatever, you go, oh, that was really sad back then, but damn, I sure am glad that happened.
Right.
You know, like your story is different with a little bit of time. And so why wouldn't we love the aspects of the now that are really difficult, just as we love the people in our life that love us too?
Well, I think we learn at an early age to run away from what makes us uncomfortable. And that, again, points to why we wouldn't receive love. Because if love itself makes you uncomfortable, if another man complimenting you or anything like that makes you uncomfortable, you've learned to run from that. And so you have to learn to sit in that uncomfortable feeling. You know, I referenced the ice bath. I use the ice bath for a lot of stuff, man. Because the ice bath is just absolute hell for about 30 seconds. And
yes, it is.
You can get past the fact that you're uncomfortable, past the fact that you're suffering, and instead you can be comfortable in that uncomfortability and that suffering. Like, then you just accept it. You're like, this is where I'm at. I'm choosing to be here. And while I'm here, I'm going to learn to love myself in it too. And then you get out of the ice bath and you're like, fuck it.
Yeah!
And like, that's it though, man. It's like all these times when, you know, if another man compliments you, like, sit with that uncomfortable. Be like, why am I feeling uncomfortable right now? He didn't do anything bad to me. He didn't hurt me. He didn't threaten me. I'm uncomfortable, and it's because it's within me. I've learned something that taught me to be that way.
Well, speaking of men hugging other men, my father didn't start telling me he loved me until, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 years ago or whatever it was. I forget the exact time frame. But it was weird because I've had no problems, you know, like extending love to anybody else. But that just threw me off. I had a very difficult time receiving that.
Yeah.
And I ask myself often, like, why would that be a difficult thing? And maybe if that particular person, in this case is my father, when we have these people in our lives for a long time, and then all of a sudden they start, you think, this person's not going to change, but sometimes they do. In my case, my dad really didn't change, but a lot of people do change and do overcome themselves, and then it becomes like, oh, well, I've been hurt by you before. Do I want to do that? And then that makes it difficult for new friends and new things to develop because you say, oh, well, every girl is a whatever. You know,
Right.
I can't stand them. Every guy is a ass. And so then all of a sudden we limit our potential to grow and to love and to care because we have these scars of past loves, we destroy our future love, our chances of it by holding other people responsible.
Yeah, I can't trust women because every woman has hurt me. And in reality, it's likely that you distrust yourself and your own intuition. The dot on your forehead, man. A reminder of intuition, a reminder of that inner knowing, right? And when we don't trust others, it's you know, indicative that we don't trust ourselves to know the difference between someone who will hurt you and someone who won't. That's not to say that you can always control it, but that's the difference between being open to the possibility of being. I mean, let's be honest, man. You love anybody, you're going to get hurt at the end. They're either going to die or they're going to leave you, right? But does that then make it that love wasn't worth it? Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah. I think we all have stories of friends that have betrayed us or family that has been, you know, we're disassociated with. But there were periods in each of those relationships where you had great memories together.
Right.
Those were wonderful spans of time. Like I took my brother traveling around the world and had the best time with him. Absolutely loved it. Why he does not want to be around anymore, I have no idea. Nor will he communicate why. So I don't know. If you don't know what to fix, there's nothing to fix. But we all have those stories, right? And I wouldn't go back and change that because I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. I love him. Why didn't he come back? Oh, come hug me. You know, I'm like, yeah, I would like that. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't control that.
Yeah.
But I can control how I feel about those past experiences. Like I enjoyed them in the moment, and in my reflection upon them, I still enjoy them.
Yeah. I heard something the other day that I thought was very good, and it's like a self-evaluation kind of thing. It's like, I love Raina with everything in me. And to ask myself, and what am I most afraid of? Am I afraid to lose Raina, or am I afraid to hurt Raina? Which one's the most, right? Because if I'm afraid to lose Raina, that's about me. That's about how she makes me feel, what she does for me, all of those things. And so that fear, while it's valid, it's about me. However, if I'm afraid to hurt Raina, that's about her. You know, I don't want to ever do anything to cause her pain, whether that's, you know, leaving, being unfaithful, whatever it is, you know. And if you can embrace that with every person in your life, do I love them because of what they do for me, or do I love them so much so that I would be afraid to hurt them? You know, that kind of changes your perspective on your interactions with people, and you know, because I'm sure we've all had people in our life that are there because they do something great for us.
Oh, for sure, we all do. I mean, a lot of people periodically come out here just to feel better, and you know, they don't really contribute or establish trusting bonds and relationships and do stuff. But yeah, it's the same thing. We all have these people. Business relationships, of course, are the same. You're only around certain people for what y'all can do for each other. Yeah. That's not love.
Yeah, yeah. Love is a very unique thing. And I mean, ultimately, it starts with you.
Yeah, and what do you deny yourself? Like I asked whenever I was breaking out of my depression years ago, I thought, what do I deny myself by not working to get out of this slump? Like, am I actually hurting myself more by not working on myself?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm causing myself more and more pain by not addressing my own issues. Mm-hmm. And shifting the blame on somebody else. Like we just said, you know, that I can never trust a woman or can't ever trust a man. That means that you can't trust yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you know, doing the work and working on yourself, building self-awareness, that is an act of self-love. You know, and I mean, you love yourself enough to accept love from everybody else. Like, you're going to have a pretty good life.
Yeah.
You're going to have a life full of love, full of relationship, full of just everything that makes life bountiful.
And I think we also have to be a realist and understand that we can't control anybody else, nor do we want to control anybody. So let the waves roll in as they will, and allow people to come and go. But right. At the same time, extend ourselves to be open. Like you be around as long as you want. Yeah. I'm here. I'm open for you. I love you. And I would like to have wonderful, uplifting moments every time we're around each other, as long as you would like. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to go over there and pick up Jill and say, oh, I want you to be right here. Yeah. You know, I can appreciate her from over there.
You can dive into the people-pleasing side of things, you know, like the core beliefs of, in order to be loved, I have to fit into this box, or I have to, you know, play the part and be who everyone else wants me to be, otherwise they're going to reject me. But that's not love. Again, no. That's, you know, even if I, you know, part of who I am, part of how I express myself, somebody else has a problem with it, I'm betraying myself if I then change just to get their love.
Totally. Anytime we have to, now sometimes I think it's great when people give us beautiful, loving, constructing criticism.
Absolutely.
Like we have to be willing to accept that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, thank you for that, instead of going, no, F you, you know, like yeah. That's just immature emotional instability and emotional ignorance. But if we can have trusting friends, like that has been one of my goals of doing this every single Sunday, is to continue to build trusting, loving relationships where Jim can say, hey Kevin, how you went about that? Have you considered this thing? Or Steve saying, hey, you hurt my feelings by not whatever. That hadn't happened, but if it were to happen, I would be appreciative. I'd be like, hey, thanks, I appreciate that. That's what friends do. Friends don't just say, hey, Kyle, you've been an ass lately, man. That's difference in the love of a friendship and the beauty and nurturing of a relationship. Mm-hmm. And we need that. Like, we need that now more than anything in this crazy world we live in, where everything is divisive. If somebody's on the wrong side of the political aisle, all of a sudden you hate them and don't want to be around them. If somebody's on the wrong religious side of things, you don't have X, Y in your life, you're going to hell, or whatever. Everybody has their own version of everything, and then they go, well, I can't love them. I don't want to love them. And they may say that subconsciously. Most people don't openly say, well, I'm not going to love them, but their actions and their emotions
if you really think
so.
about it, when there's an extreme push away from something else, like in the political atmosphere, you've got the left and the right, and they're both pushing so hard against each other. And to me, that's a huge indicator of a lack of self-love, because if you're so adamant against something else that becomes part of your identity, well, then you don't love the part of yourself that is there, if that makes sense. So you have to push this thing away from you because that thing makes you feel uncomfortable. That thing makes it so that you can't love that person because they make you uncomfortable. Right? And being able to be comfortable, or being able to sit in that uncomfortability, that's a hard word to say, man. And still love is huge. So how do we practice love? For all of humanity, not just for the people closest to us, but for you see anyone, whether it's somebody of a different race, transgender, freaking anything.
Indian.
Yeah. How do you develop the ability to love and accept that person regardless of any of it?
It can be really difficult, especially when you think somebody is so different from you that you just get so offended so easily by everything, and you just want to shut yourself off from the world. Mm-hmm. Or shut yourself off from a big swath of people that could otherwise be beneficial to you. To me, the political divide cracks me up with love, because it seems like we all would love the truth. Mm-hmm. We would love to know, hey, where does our money actually go? And then can we discuss that?
Right.
Can we do X, Y, and Z? Because I don't believe anybody on either side of the aisle wants anybody to starve to death. Right. I don't think anybody on the left or right wants to go kill people. I don't think anybody on the left and right inherently wants to do bad things to anybody. But we should. I mean, there are evil people in the world, and evil people exist on both sides. But can't we, just as humans, if we just practiced on an individual basis with the people that are in our circle, like the people that are here, reaching out to each other more during the week, like what we did a couple of weeks ago with Megan, us getting together and helping a friend move. Getting together last night and having a bonfire and great fellowship and meditation together, really establishing trust where we could call on each other at any time for anything. If we had I like to think of it if I got an electrical question, I can call Eric. Eric's an electrician. Hey, if I got a question about landscaping, I can call my buddy Steven over here. If I got a question on how to be an asshole, I can call Steve. The other Steve. Yeah, the other Steve. Yeah. All these different things. If I want to know about paragliding, what am I going to do? Or paramotoring, I'm going to call John. All these really cool people. I think we lose sight of how lucky we are to be surrounded by such a unique group of individuals, and then we deny ourselves that advancement of love by not continuing to reach out and build it and to maintain it. We just do. And we are going to go pick a spot. And if y'all are in the local area, and y'all like to connect with nature and to build real friendships, then y'all are welcome to come. And if you really want to increase your vibrations, you can hang out with some of us, maybe Steve. And we're going to go have a picnic. And I love that y'all joined us. Thank y'all for staying this long. And almost forgot. Our sponsor that sponsors all this is Sinless. It makes the best deodorant and toothpaste known to mankind. And you can go there, sinlessnow.com. We'll see y'all.